Hi, this is Marcus Fayers, founder and editor-in-chief of Dezeen, and I'm broadcasting live from the Dezeen studio space in London. Today, we're teaming up with Andreu World to launch a book called Conversations About Work. This is a new book exploring the working process of renowned designers, including Patricia Urquiola, Phillipe Starck, and Benjamin Hubert. Today, I'm joined by Benjamin Hubert, who's founder of design agency Leia, and is featured in the book, as I just said. Hi, Benjamin, how are you doing?
Hey, Marcus, how are you?
And we're also joined by Jesús Llinares, who's CEO of Andreu World. Hi, Jesús.
Hello, Marcos. How are you?
And I have the book here with me. You sent me a copy very kindly. Thank you very much. And first of all, Benjamin, tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are and what you do and where you're talking from now.
So I'm sat in East London in our studio. I prepared a short presentation as well, just to take you through some images and really visualize what we're doing here.
Cool, and we'll have a look at that in just a few minutes. And tell us about yourself, Jesús.
I am Jesús Llinares. I'm the CEO of Andreu World. I'm 20 years in the company. My background is industrial engineer, but I did an MBA in Barcelona, and I'm in the furniture industry 25 years. In addition to that, I'm a musician. I play saxophone, but my main job is CEO of Andreu World.
Ah, are you a good saxophone player?
Not bad.
I was in a talk the other day with someone who's a piano player, so maybe we should get a band together of all the people we've been interviewing this year.
When I was 9 years old, then until 24, I was in a band.
What kind of band?
Yes.
What kind of saxophone do you play? Jazz or?
Alto, saxo alto.
But what style? Jazz or rock and roll? Or?
Music, and I like jazz a lot. I will do in the future.
Okay, and you're going to give a little presentation in a minute as well after Benjamin. But Jesus, I want to ask you first of all, why does Andreu World produce books? Obviously, you produce furniture, but you've done several books like this. I've got a few of them that you gave me very kindly 2 years ago when I was in Valencia with you. Why does a furniture brand make such beautiful books?
By the way, it was a pleasure to have you in the design competition as a jury. It's a nice edition when you stay with us. This book is, in a certain way, we are opening the door of the different studios that we will speak during today, and then Phillipe Starck, Patricia Urquiola, Jasper Morrison, but Benjamin Hubert, and 8 different designers are, in a very generous approach, talk about themselves, talk about how they run their own companies, how they attract the talent, how they manage the creativity. I think it's the kind of document, the kind of information that is interesting not only for students, but even for companies like human resources that can learn, I think, about these clear success cases of business and design businesses. On the other hand, it's the opportunity to know more about a successful person.
And I guess also the connection is that Andreu World makes products that people might use in the workplace, tables and chairs and things like that.
Yes. This is our main. I will explain that. I have a presentation. When we have the chance, I can explain a little bit about the company.
Okay. Benjamin, let's go to you then. If you could share your presentation with us.
Yeah, no problem. I probably should introduce myself a little bit better as well. I think Jesus's introduction of playing saxophone was the perfect intro. And actually, I didn't know that, Jesus. Next time I'm in Spain, we should talk about it. But my uncle is quite a well-known jazz musician in Madrid playing saxophone. So we've probably got some things in common. So this is a little deck that introduces Leia. So I'm the creative director and founder of Leia. And as we're talking about work and where we work and what we work on, that's what this little deck will introduce. So we're in East London, we're on Hackney Road, we're in the heart of what I would consider a really growth area of creativity in London. And we do all types of work here. But most importantly, for me, it's a team that we work with here that I'm most proud of, and it's grown steadily over the last few years, and these days it's about 30, and it's a big mixture of backgrounds and points of view, and and disciplines around strategy, research, brand, industrial design, packaging, and lots of different facets of how you make things work. And basically the space that we're in here today, assuming everyone can actually see this, is this is a bit kind of Photoshop to the max. But this is the space we're in here, very kind of collective, very together, lots of kind of shared workspaces and work zones. And everything's here is really about providing a creative environment that provides sources of inspiration, and particularly these days, as we've experienced so much apartness, a great sense of togetherness. And we do this in the form of workshops and collaboration and sharing ideas, building things and making things to eventually make ambitions and dreams and aspirations into tangible products, whether that's physical or later I'll talk about digital. And we do this with all different types of people. So we have a very close working relationship with Bang & Olufsen, where we're taking audio and making it softer, making it more human, making it more natural, making it part of the interior space and something that is both identifiable, but also disappearing into our environments. We work on lots of types of wearable. We're quite big in digital currency at the moment, working on lots of digital currency things. And often with our projects, it's not just about producing, or sometimes not about producing a physical thing at all. And we do a lot of kind of digital and strategy and thinking about, can you dematerialize? Do you need a thing? What service can you provide? What makes something better using the tools you already have, be it a mobile device? We work on many things like assistive products. If there's one thing, if anyone was to ask me what I love and what we love working on, is it's products that help people, products that make a difference, and products that create a step change. And whether that's something like the wheelchair that we did for Nike many years ago, or many other smaller assistive aids, I think design and designers have a responsibility to drive change and the responsibility to make things better where possible. And it's 3D printed, it was made to measure. And lots of these kind of smaller mobility products have obviously been growing a lot as we've stopped using shared mobility as much. And whether that's the Neo, the scooter, smart scooter with modularity, with smartness, with AI, and really to help provide a platform to make personal transport better. And today, we're probably going to talk about furniture. Sorry, Jesus, this is not an Andreu World piece of furniture, but we're going to talk about that later. But we do lots of things that are very sustainably focused. So if you're going to produce hardware, you're going to produce something new that's physical, that is making an impact on the world, how can that be lighter? How can it be from recycled materials? How can it have longevity and a timelessness? So you do keep things to a point where they amortize the investment in energy to create them. And that's a sense of kind of warmth and welcomeness and craftsmanship, which elevates that. And then finally, we also do installations at a point where people are going to physical spaces much more. We do inviting environments to elevate experiences and emotions, to make things larger than life and really drive design in a big way with a capital D. And this is a collection of things, a cross-section of many things we're doing all over the world with great and interesting, smart people to make the world a slightly better and happier and healthier place.
Great, thank you very much. If you want to unshare your screen now. But you didn't talk too much, Benjamin, about your working environment, because in the book, there's a whole section about you with pictures of your office, which I've been to, obviously, and how your staff socialize together. And I know you've got a kitchen where you provide lunch for everybody. Tell us a little bit about your setup. How does, first of all, describe your office to us, your working environment, your working day?
Yeah, great question. And actually, it's changed a lot. So not just because of the conventional things like, working from home, working in the office, but we invested a little bit more in creating a slightly more social space. So whether that's pool tables, whether it's table tennis tables, but things that bring people together more and actually celebrate togetherness. I think and we're guilty of it. I think it's really easy to, be siloed in a workplace, to work behind your monitor, to work behind your laptop, to put your headphones on and go into your bubble. And sometimes you need to do that. Sometimes you need to focus, particularly in design or creativity, where you're trying to solve problems. But for us, it's about sort of compression of that type of work and then the release of it. And we provide beers on Fridays. We provide an opportunity for people to socialize, to get to know each other. Design is a people business. We design for people. We design with people. And for me, the happiness and healthiness, not just in the COVID sense, but from a mental health point of view, is really, really important. And we work hard. We work with challenging clients. We work on difficult projects. And for me, the working environment is one that should be different to the home in the best possible sense, to celebrate bringing people together.
And are you all back in the office after the pandemic, or are you working from home, or is it a bit of both?
We're fully back. So the UK is obviously in that space, hopefully reasonably long space, where we're able to do that. And we did various strategies throughout. Everyone at home, 50-50, just people that are making things in the studio, and then brought everyone back. And, like, handles are being wiped down 3 times a day. Everyone's got masks on. Some of the communal areas for eating have changed. And we put dividers in and all the kind of, as many of the physical safeguards as you can to create an environment where people are kind of comfortable in working.
And what about you, Jesus? Is your team all back in the office now?
Yes, we are back in the office since September, all the office and facilities. We did a gradual, we incorporated people gradually during the year. And now I think everybody is vaccinated in our company, and everything is more safe. We feel that we are recovering some kind of normality inside, and this is helping to have the people here to coordinate better some projects, some things, and even for the culture of the company, it's good to be together sometimes. I think the combination of a hybrid possibility, flexibilizing when the people should work from home, but being here the most part of the time when possible, I think is the best combination after the learnings of the corona.
Okay, so now is a good time for you to share your presentation with us, Jesus.
Okay, I will try. Okay, if I should define Andreu World in few words, is sustainable design from one side and manufacturing culture. Manufacturing culture in the meaning of more than 500 people in the company, 5 different facilities or manufacturing sites, and 200,000 square meters of manufacturing and operations spaces. That's our origin. That's the origin of the company. And what we try to do in this field, in the manufacturing side, in the operation side, try to attract the best technicians, the best people, and try to continue growing and learning in our know-how to become a reference in the world in our specialty. That is chairs, sitting, and tables, including soft sitting and outdoor furniture. And this is a little bit what we can explain as a company and the origin of the company. On the other hand, one of the characteristics of Andreu World, and this is part of the name, Andreu, to have world in the name is because since the end of the 70s and beginning of the 80s, we have a clear intention to become a global company, to have international business. And now we are doing close to 90% of our business outside of Spain. Our company was born in Valencia, in the east of Spain, in the Mediterranean coast. And now we are working in more than 110 different countries. And this is an example of this kind of internationalization because this is the showroom in New York. And we have 25 different showrooms, monobrand around the world that give us the chance to share the quality, the finish, and the future of our products to the designers and architects and end customers. This is another example. This is the London showroom, and that we are going to expand. Hopefully in a few months, we are going to have 2 times the space we have today. And this is one of the things that characterize Andreu World. The other thing that defines Andreu World is the design as a strategy. That means we try to work not only with our internal team. We have more than 24 engineers and industrial designers inside of the company doing the product development and sometimes generating new ideas. But we like to have the best ideas from the best designers. And then in this book that you are speaking about, Marcus, we just share the thoughts of 8 different designers: Starck, Urquiola, Giulio Ridolfo, Alfredo Haberli, Pier Giorgio Cazzaniga, Alberto Leore, Benjamin, that is here today and in the picture, and Jasper Morrison. The thing is that they, as I mentioned at the beginning, they have been very generous, sharing their thoughts, their reflections, and even showing a little bit how they understand the work environment in all the senses, no? Because the corporate business is one of our businesses, our segments that we are working. The other one is hotels and restaurants as well. And in this particular publication, they are sharing with us how they see the corona or the pandemic age, and how they foresee the future in the office environments. That's interesting. But coming back to the design, this is for us the base of the innovation. We learn a lot from these designers, and sometimes we have our own ideas, and this is a combination to make us better as a company. The other thing, as I mentioned at the beginning, that defines Andreu World is sustainable design, sustainability. You should know that in 2001, 20 years ago, we wrote the principles and values of our company. That means the founder of the company, in the board of directors, with myself, we did a document that we titled Philosophy of the Company or Company Culture. Then we define one by one the principles and values that define the identity of Andreu World. And this one of the most important. Thanks to these principles and values, in 2005, we decided that all the complete catalog, all the wood that Andreu World is going to use in the future, and at that moment, the wood was the main technology, then 95%, practically all the catalog was wooden furniture, plywood and solid wood. From 2005, we decided, and then in 2006, we were audited, and then the chain of supply from the forest till the final customer, we were audited every year, and 100% of our products was FSC pure. We were the first company in the world in this segment, in the furniture industry, having the complete offer in the catalog with this kind of wood. It was 15 years ago, thanks to this culture. And because of that, we decided that we want to become a reference in the world in the sustainable design. Then because of that, we are adding some new materials. Last year, we launched it with Patricia Urquiola, biopolymer. The origin of this thermopolymer is bio, that is compostable and biodegradable. If, for example, you do kind of trial to this plastic, that means the carbon-14 trial, you will see that the age of this product is 1.5 years, instead millions of years that you have with the fossil thermopolymer. And that's the big difference. In addition to, we add some new textiles that come from PET bottles. And that's something that we want to continue working with determination. For us, it's important to become a leader in this field, because as I mentioned, it's part of our philosophy. And thanks to that, we are using 100% of our products that are hosted are recycled and recyclable, 100% recycled, 100% recyclable. And we are more and more using in the plastic versions the 100% recycled. Now is only in some colors, but in the next future, we want to do it in the whole catalog, in the whole offer, in the thermopolymers as well. Our goal become in 2025 a complete circular production system and circular economy in all our logistics and supply chain in Andreu World by 2025. And now, just to share with you some examples of design that we did with Benjamin Hubert. This is Hula. That is a bar stool that we launched a couple of years ago. You can see the product in different spaces. This is a kitchen, or this is a cafeteria. This is with the backrest, and the other is without the backrest. And I want to share briefly a couple of pictures of a new introduction that we are going to do in the next NeoCon edition, that is October 4th in Chicago. That is the Triada table. That is a height adjustable table that is the top is a tray made in plywood, and give us the chance to use this product in all the soft seating and lounge areas that can be furnished by Andreu World. This is another example, another picture of this product that you can see. Technology is something that Benjamin works very well. We see in the output working with Andreu World that he likes technology, and then he did a wonderful job in the details of this aluminum injection base that the public will see physically in a couple of weeks. That's all about us.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So Jesus, first of all, let me ask you about this ambition to become circular business by 2025. Explain to us what exactly circular means for anyone who isn't familiar with that term.
The first thing is obviously we are using the eco design. We are labeled in eco design since 2015. In 2010, we did a couple of products that were into the 100% circularity, and was example in some shows that we did here in Spain. And then from one side, we want to work design by design from now to the future. On the other hand, we want to work the designs that we have in our actual portfolio one by one, how we can transform and how we can optimize the circularity. In parallel, it's energy, for example, is another subject that we want to attack, because you should know that in all of our factories where we have the wooden technology as the main technology, we reuse all the wood as energy source. We don't use any other energy. That's from the beginning. Company is 65 years old, and we are doing that since the origin of the company. And then we want to reapply. We are using practically all the, and I'm going to use 100% of the renewable sources of energy. That means from sun, that we are going to have a big installation that per today we are buying from renewable sources. And we have like a plan in different fields in order to move to this kind of circular economy. This is a big challenge for any company in the entire world. But we feel that in Andreu World, we are in a better position than other companies to achieve it. And that's our goal.
Great, well, good luck with that. And back to the book now, the conversations about workbook. Is that a book that people will be able to buy, or is it something that you use as a kind of a gift for clients and designers and customers?
The book is available in Amazon. It's available in FNAC. It's available in different libraries, depends on the countries. And it's edited by Edasa, that is an editorial based in Spain, that they have agreements in Latin America and in North America as well. And then is started distribution just September 1st. Then we are going to sell the book, but obviously for friends, we are going to give the book as a present.
And you have interviewed 8 different designers for the book. Now, how different is it working with these 8 different designers? How different is it working with Benjamin compared to Phillipe, Starck, or Patricia, Urquiola?
You can imagine how different is each person, but on the other hand, it's easy to understand that. No? I think the personality of each designer influencing everything around him, no? Because at the end they are one person. In the case of Benjamin, he is not only one person because he built a brand, no? Layer. It's the only one that is not only generating the design from Benjamin Hubert, but acting as a company, as a layer. This is the characteristic, particularly in that case from Benjamin. But for example, Phillipe Starck he has a creativity that it's amazing. He is able to generate a new idea. He said 1 per day, but I can tell you that much more than 1 per day. It's realistically the talent of Phillipe Starck that I realized it, because even during the pandemic, he was organizing not only video conferences with us, but having physical meetings. We arranged the way to find, or in Portugal or in Valencia in Spain, some follow-up meetings, and we realized that he's really talented and has another characteristic, that is the capacity to synthesize the ideas, to communicate directly and easy, and this is another talent. But each one of the 8 designers has different styles. Like Katsaniga, for example, is like like an artisan. He, you know that his grandfather was founded a school for design and artisan works in Brianza, in the north of Milano. His grandfather, his father, they were artisans doing upholstery or craftsmanship in the wood. No? And then he knows the root of the furniture industry, and this influenced a lot in how he is working and approaching the project.
And you said, and it says in the book, in the section about Phillipe Starck, he says, I work on one project a day. So if you're working with Starck on a chair, for example, do you only get one day of his time? Does he do the whole thing from start to finish in one day?
No, I think what he is telling is that he has the capability to generate a lot of ideas in a short period of time. But obviously, when we have a working session with him, like we have one session with Benjamin, he's totally focused and trying to discuss the details. He's open to some ideas, and some other ideas he has a clear concept of the design, and then he defends his ideas. But is the way of work. When you stay in a design, you need to put the focus until clarify all the details, and this process takes time.
Okay, so the coming up with the idea is one day, not the whole project start to finish. And Benjamin, tell us a bit about the process, your working process in relationship to this new Triada adjustable table that Jesus just showed. Tell us the story of how this project, this collaboration came about. Who called who first, and then what happened after that?
God, I have to cast my mind back. It's like the last 18 months have been a black hole of trying to register when things started and stopped and that kind of thing. I mean, the collaboration more than the project, I think, is potentially a bit more interesting. I'm really curious and focused on like who the people are behind companies, how they run their companies, how it becomes a company, and then how all the moving pieces of their products and strategy kind of sits together. And the first project was the Hula stool, and Andreu World reached out to us quite a few years now ago, and really simple brief, as most briefs are in the furniture world, unless you're dealing with work, which we are talking about today, but more complex systems of work. So if you're thinking about standalone products like that was, brief, super simple, height adjustable stool, much like the brief for the side tables, which was a adjustable and foldable side table. I think, in essence, those projects are quite straightforward in some ways, mechanically and from an engineering point of view, and finding an identity which is ownable, because, the furniture market, as I've stood up a few times and said, is like so saturated, it's untrue. So how do you and why do you, more importantly, create something new? And I think, weaving into these briefs and weaving into these projects, not just a sense of style, and a style is time stamped. No matter how timeless you make something, it always kind of runs its path and then sometimes comes back. It's other harder values like sustainability and how easy it is to use, and the kind of things that are universally beneficial. And they're the things that we focus on with Andreu World. So whether it's a simple product like a stool or a side table, or some more complex products which are coming out with them in the next year, getting to the bedrock of who Andreu World are, what they value, how can you imbue that in a product, and then thinking about things as a collection of things and as a system, and how they help people live happy and healthy, as I always kind of say, was a project. But in essence, Mark, it's pretty, to cut a long story short, it was a call, and can you design a stool, please?
And then what happens in the book? There's photographs of you sketching? Do you do a lot of sketching? There was another picture of yellow Post-it notes all over a meeting room wall. Are you still very sketch oriented?
All of the sort of calling cards of the design process. And I think my role has changed a lot over the years. Whereas, in the beginning, I would be doing everything and doing all the sketches and all the modeling and all the figuring out and all the thinking and all the Post-its and things like that. I'm very fortunate to have a team around us that do that, a lot of that. I still do, see if I can find anything. I still do sketch, but my sketches tend to be more like, how do you solve a problem? How do you get from A to B in the quickest, most efficient and most sensible manner? And they kind of stopped being a funny thing. When I started my career, I was focused on the quality of the sketch, not what the sketch was doing. And so I was like a blue pencil sketch monkey, where like doing like super fast, almost automated sketches on things, and then standing back and going, the sketch is cool, but what on earth are you drawing and why are you drawing it? And now they're like kind of like in the margins and scribbles, and to everyone's annoyance, scribbles over the top of things, to kind of steer a little bit more rather than think about each one of those disciplines.
And this question is for both of you. We're coming out of a pandemic now. You kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier, Jesus, but how has the pandemic changed forever the way that people work? Or are we going to go back to exactly how it was before? Benjamin, you said all your team are back in the office, but is it exactly the same as before? You said you had to make the office more like home, or to compete more with the home, or something like that.
I think what I see and what I value even more than I used to is just how everyone's feeling. I think the lens on that really magnified that aspect of the business, what we were doing right and wrong in that perspective. So I could talk about all the boring kind of physical things that we've done and the COVID precaution things, but I think the more interesting thing is psychology. And I was reading today that the British government are thinking about mandating or putting into law flexible working, so that you could, as an employee, ask to work from home. And I think the mindset of business owners and the mindset of how you run a team has shifted so much to ensure that first and foremost everyone is kind of happy, and then everything else falls into sync. But I don't think by the way, I kind of resent the word work. I think work is everything sort of has a label, but I just think work sounds like hard work. It sounds like a chore, and I just think contribution and doing something which is bettering something. I think it sort of needs reframing, and I particularly think it needs reframing at the moment, because this like home work. Working at home, being at home, and then doing work, and it's become so binary. And I think it just needs reframing. And if there was a design project at the moment, I think it's like rebranding the thing you do that offers a contribution.
It's interesting you're saying about you hating the word work, because the first text page in the book describes how the word work evolved in different languages. And in Spanish, trabajar comes from a Latin word for a torture device. And the German word Arbeit comes from effort and suffering.
Exactly.
English, though, it comes from the word, a Gothic word, rican, which means to pursue. So the English have always had a slightly more positive definition of work compared to the Spanish and the Germans.
Yeah, I think that's super interesting. And you probably feel the same, Marcus. Like, you probably look around Dezeen and you're like, we're lucky, I think, that we do something vocational, and we do something that has a lot of joy and a lot of, your education goes directly into it, and you're trained to do something, and the love of it makes it better. And not everyone is clearly as fortunate as you might be in a more vocational line of work. But I just think it's been so scrutinized, but perhaps with the wrong lens.
And Jesus, same question to you. Do you think the pandemic has changed forever the nature of work? And also, more specifically, as the CEO of a furniture company, Is it changing the kind of products that people are ordering? Is it changing the kind of commissions you're taking on from clients? I can't actually hear.
Sorry.
You're
The
back.
reality is that the pandemic is only accelerate some trends that we were living. That means at the end, the pandemic, the corona hasn't changed drastically things in the office, even if everybody was thinking about that. Our feedback, what we are seeing is that it has been an acceleration. It's probably it happens in a year and a half, what needs to take like 4, 5, 6 years, I don't know. But now it's more important, the ancillary product, the loose furniture. It's a good moment for a company like Andreu World. And why? Because the companies are trying to obviously not only take into account safety after that, but trying to attract the people to the corporate offices, trying to have more representative spaces with quality. That means not only to attract the employees and the teams, but to attract obviously the customers and to have an experience there. It's a place that is reflecting more and more the offices, particularly the work environments, the culture of the company, because it's a tool that everybody recognizes after a year and a half of the corona, and that you don't lose productivity because of the homework, but you lose a little bit of momentum from the leadership point of view, because culturally speaking, it's more than a challenge. I think companies, in general, the feedback is that they feel it's more than difficult to maintain some kind of teamwork spirit and the values of the company with a distance. That means it's a tool, the homework, obviously, it's a tool that can flexibilize. Before the pandemic, everybody was speaking about the 4 days week, labor days week, and now could be the homework is another option. But companies are going to invest a little bit more, I think, in the offices, trying to catch not only the customers but the talent of the companies, and because the people is clear that is the center of everything. Because I think the pandemic transmit that the people has been really committed in general. The companies perform, but I think this treatment is I think is going to be better from the ergonomic, from the furniture, from the image, from the everything point of view, that this affect the furniture. And this is what is going to happen. I think it's going to accelerate this trend that was detected like 2, 3, 4 years. Big companies doing big research share us with us in Orgatec like 4 years ago, in Neocon like 4 or 5 years ago, and it has been, now it's a fact.
I've got one more question from me before we go to audience questions. Jesus, you were talking a lot about sustainability and certified timber and circular design. How important is the whole sustainability effort, and what are you doing particularly about the carbon footprint, which is, you have the climate conference coming up? How are you both approaching that as leaders of companies in the creative space?
For us as a company, the carbon footprint, we are measuring that. We are teaching the specific team to measure not only the products, but the complete carbon footprint. We have like all the new designs that we are introducing, we are measuring the carbon footprint, and then we have goals, precise goals, specific goals in order to reduce it. Sustainability for us, sustainability for me is obviously it's mandatory. There is no choice. We must do it. For me, it's at the same level that design. Design, I told you at the beginning that it's our strategy, and this innovation design is part of our culture as well. And sustainability is at the same level, not less. Sustainability is a must. And you know, another thing that it's important as well is we have 500 people working with us inside of the company as directly. Now, in addition to have the beauty that you can have with these beautiful designs, no, that Benjamin was sharing with us, that you can see in the Andreu World catalog, that's something that attracts the people. But to have a purpose like contribute to the planet, to do a better world through sustainability is even superior. That means we can see design for me is important because of the innovation mainly, and the beauty is a beautiful thing, but it's superficial if you think in sustainability. Sustainability in our 8 hours or X hours that we stay in the company, if we, in addition to the day-to-day, the materialistic part of the job, we notice that we are contributing in our day-to-day, thanks to the approach of the company or the objective of the company, to this improvement to the environment and the circularity. This is like an extra salary in the meaning of this is a purpose that is superior sometimes to the materialistic and normal economic approach that any company has.
And what about you, Benjamin? Is it something that clients are asking for? Is it something that you're trying to persuade clients to take seriously?
It very much depends on the client as to where they are in that process and curve. As a business, we try and be sensible, but I think our impact is exactly how you framed it. What we can and can't push through in the creative process. So cost is always the conversation. So it normally boils down to, like, most people enter into new product development, whatever it is, best will in the world with a great ethos and trying to do better. I don't think I've ever met somebody that's, well, okay, maybe once, twice, but mostly not, trying to do something that is good. I think when it comes down to dollars and cents around how much something costs, and will they want to invent a new production line? Will they want to spend a little bit more on a construction process that doesn't use glue, or to use a material that is approved by whichever body versus the normal virgin materials that they've been putting through production lines? That's always the conversation, and that's why we've become more engaged in the business of design and the design of businesses, because unless you can stand up in front of the C-suite of a company and justify how something generates the same or more revenue, then the sustainability question isn't even considered. And it's too it sounds really pessimistic and jaded, but the reality is, particularly for big companies, unless they can see dollar signs next to advancements, it's very difficult to get them to trade off. Even if there's a longer term vision, there has to be some kind of short-term reward. So our job is to very simply make something more affordable whilst making it more ethical, but to always bring those two things to the table.
And so a lot of companies are making noises about being sustainable. Are you saying that actually when it comes down to the crunch of making a decision to do a more sustainable product or to do a cheaper product, they'll tend to go for the cheaper one and do a bit of greenwashing to cover it up?
Well,
not Andreu World, obviously.
I mean, clearly we live in a world where that's happening. I think it's a process. And I think the thought leaders will lead and everyone else will follow. And it's about, finding and engaging with the right people that drive the right mindset that can convert that to product that people really want. The desirability and appropriateness of a new product is the bit that, sustainability is like the tail wagging the dog. You need the dog to come first. It needs to be desirable, and it needs to be appealing, it needs to be sensible, it needs to solve a problem, and it should be sustainable. It's very difficult to reverse that equation, but we tend not to, we don't label it, we don't really stand up and talk about it that much, because we consider it as a basic fundamental of any product should be more sustainable than what came before.
Got time for a couple of, oh, sorry, yeah, Jesus?
I tell you a brief but real and true story that happens 15 years ago when we decided to go to the FSC timber, FSC wood, 100% pure in the whole catalog. We had a discussion in the company, because economically speaking, from the capacity point of view, that means the sourcing and all the forests that we are using for the supply chain, there was a challenge, and all the industrial part, they were very concerned. They transmit that to us, and then we have a discussion, a discussion in between the founder and myself. And finally we did it. And why? Because I put on the table the culture of the company and our principles and values. And I say, okay, This is one of our principles, and this is something that is good. If it's good for the world, it's good for the customer. It's good for the customer, it's good for Andreu World. There is no doubt. We'll make that sustainable, not only from the point of view of reforested wood, but from the chain of supply, and we did it. I mean, sometimes we should do things because it's part of your convictions or your principles and values. And in that case, today, in 2021, there is no doubt we should do that. Obviously, companies are economy, that's clear. We should manage that. That's the challenge, but it's a beautiful challenge for the companies, believe me.
And anybody that's not doing it now or hasn't been doing it or isn't thinking about it will end up being behind the curve, and they might be leading the market now but won't be, whether it's because of the levies and the taxes and the governments and all of the things that will force the change, but the change will be forced too late for these companies, or that they're just so big and they're juggernauts that just take a long time to turn. They have to be doing it now or they die.
Okay, now we have to go to a couple of audience questions before we run out of time. The first one's for you, Jesus, from Gary. You were talking about biopolymers that you developed, I think, with Patricia Urquiola. His question is, are the new sustainable materials as durable as the alternatives, the previous materials?
It's exactly the same durability. The only difference is that I break it in parts, then it's compostable. And I put in the garden, it's compostable. And then this thermopolymer, the biopolymer, has the same behavior than the wood. I mean, the wood takes like 30, 40 years to be absorbed by the nature in the soil, and it's the same for the thermopolymer. The technical characteristics, and there is an Oxford University study about this material. It's done like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, but this is a revolution, a real revolution. We did a job in between 4 different parts. From one side was the designer that a little bit lead the process, in that case, Patricia. Then we have a sourcing of the material from Asia, but at the same time, we collaborate with a scientist, expert in chemistry, and a company expert in injection. And we modified the material to reduce the boiling point. We modified the machinery and the molds in order to try to reduce the heat and the temperature inside. Has been a challenge, really complex, more than we imagined when we started. But the 4 parts in this nice project, in this challenging project, they were committed to do it, because we are the first company that built this size of lounge made in biopolymer. And now we have the know-how.
Great. The next question, I think this could go to both of you. We're going to ask you first, Benjamin. It's a bit of an open question from Muskan. When you are designing products, what is your aim?
Wow, here's a broad question.
Yeah, very broad, yeah.
What is my aim? I think the aim of any designer is to create things that make people's lives easier and the world a better place. I mean, that's like, you get a lofty question sort of gets a lofty answer, I think. And also to enjoy the process. I think we're so sort of destination focused as a culture, particularly in consumerism, and it's all about the next thing and getting the thing and getting to the thing and who's got that thing. But I think the process of creating something is a celebration in itself, and one that is so overlooked. And I'm guilty of it as much of anyone else is wanting to get to that end point. But to ensure the process is enjoyable is one of the aims.
And finally, same question to you, Jesus. When you're designing products or working with someone else who's designing products, what is your aim?
I like to see several things. Now, one is obviously sustainability, but identity as well. That means it should be a product that we feel that is a product from the designer, but a product for Andreu World. It should have kind of identity, that with our brand. And the other part is innovation. We try to have something innovative and the best design, the top designs, when we can say this is an outstanding or something excellent, that unfortunately not happens every design, all the designs, is when you can anticipate some needs or some facts that even the market is not asking for. That means if you are a step forward and then you do something more than innovate. But these are the three things that we look when we are asking for a new design.
Brilliant. Well, it's been fantastic speaking to both of you. Good to see you both again, Benjamin and Jesus, and good luck with the book, Jesus.
Thank you.
Thanks, Marcus. Thanks,
Thanks
Jesus.
very much.
Speak soon. Thank you.
Bye.
Big pleasure.